Hello everyone, I'm Supriya Sachin. I'm an HR professional. Today I'm going to talk about IDP, that is Individual Development Plan. How many of you have heard of it? I'm sure if you're working in an IT industry, you would have definitely heard of this word IDP. In all probability, you would have got a mail from your manager or from your HR to make sure that you fill your IDP form and submit. If my guess is right, you would have considered it as one more checkmark item which you want to get away from it as soon as possible, and you wouldn't have reviewed it for next 1 year. Having said that, I have done the same mistake at the start of my career. Now, being an HR professional, I know how important an IDP is for one's career. To be frank, without an IDP, you're completely directionless in terms of your career. So let me ask you 3 questions. So take a notepad and a pen. When I ask you the questions, you can just write down the answers for it. The first question. Imagine yourself 5 years down the line. So maybe if 5 years is too much for you to visualize, you can imagine yourself 2 years down the line in terms of your career. Where do you want to see yourself? So you can just pause this video, note down the answer for it in the notepad and then come back. So I hope you have paused and then come back. So here is the second question. What are the top 5 skill sets that you want to develop? You can pause, write and come back. Alright, moving on to the third question. Who is a role model for you in terms of your career? Or maybe in your workplace? So what are those qualities in them that you appreciate or you want to inculcate in you? So note that down. Now, let's review these questions later point of time. So hold on with those answers with you. Now let's see why people are ignoring the IDP. There are top 3 reasons why people ignore the IDP. The first one, why people ignore the IDP is because they don't know why they are writing an IDP. Yes, why they are writing an IDP. The second important reason, they don't see instant result in terms of an IDP. When it was for a performance goals, you have your quarterly reviews, you have your half-yearly reviews, you have your annual reviews. So there is some kind of result you see in terms of your rating or increment. However, IDP is not like that. It's going to give you long-term benefits. So people don't see long-term benefits of it. So we are in the world of instant gratification. So you want to see instant results. When it is not instant, when you're not able to see the result instantly, so you tend to give up on that. So that's the same mistake that's happening with IDP. And the third important mistake, what people do, or one of the important myth is, they think, or the employees think, IDP is an additional task along with your performance goals. It is not. IDP is not an additional task. IDP should be part of your work. If it is not part of your work, if it is, if it has become an additional task for you, then definitely you have not written an effective IDP. It has to be integrated as part of your work. Now let's review each of these reasons one by one. The first one, why? People don't know why they are writing an IDP. I think the question why is important in everything, in anything that you do. So when the why is clear, then what you're going to do will be clear and how you're going to do will be very much clear. So you need to make sure your why is clear. Once why is clear, your how and what will be much more clearer. Let's take a simple example. Let's say you're working in an organization for some years and now as usual your HR comes to you and says, see, you have not done your IDP, just please do the IDP and close it on the system. Okay, now it's a checkmark item for you. What are you going to do? The easiest way, you just go, you say effective communication. That's the IDP. And how are you going to do it? I will take up some online courses. Close. Is it effective? Do you know why you have written effective communication? You do not know. Now let's take a step back and let's follow the steps to write an effective IDP. The first step to write an effective IDP is asking why. and why is nothing but your aspiration in terms of your career. So now this example what I've given, so you are working in an organization. So what could be the why? So there are two reasons. One is mastering your goal, mastering your current role, and the second reason would be you're moving up to a different role or moving to a higher role. So these are the two reasons or the two aspirations that you can consider. So in this case, let's say the aspiration is moving to a technology lead role. So you're aspiring to move up to a technology lead role. So that's the why part. So now you have the why part. What is it that you want to become a technology lead? Now the what part. So before moving into what, there is one important step. That is, you need to understand where do you stand. In the Google Maps, if you want to go from location A to location B, first you need to put where are you right now, which is that location A. So only then it will show what is the distance from location B. If not, if you want to go to Bangalore to Mysore, you don't even put Bangalore, then how will it show the route, right? There should be some route that it needs to show. This is the number of hours, this is the number of kilometers, these are the pit stops available. So all the details will be more clear when you have the location A given. Similarly, in IDP, you need to understand where you stand, the location A. It's nothing but, if you remember your IDP form, there will be something called as strengths and challenges or development areas. It's not weakness. So don't think or analyze it as weakness, because if something is weakness, in most probable cases, you will not be able to develop it. You will not be able to work on it. So look at those things that you have the ability to develop, or you feel with some mentorship you can actually pick up that particular skill. The simplest example is the communication skill, right? Communication skill is not a rocket science. Effective communication is not a rocket science. If someone mentors you properly, if you've given an opportunity to talk very often, the communication skills comes automatically. So look at those things. So those are the developmental opportunities, right? Or the challenges. So look at those things that are challenges for you and you have the ability to develop them. So that gives you where you stand. So the example what I gave you was, the employee want to become a team lead. So he writes his strength, let's say he is coding in some Python language. So his strength is, maybe he's technically very strong. So technically strong in Python coding. What is his developmental opportunities, or what are his challenges? He is aspiring to become a team lead. So that means the first thing is he has to be effective communicator. So maybe he would have realized that he's not so good, so strong in communication. So he will put his developmental opportunities as effective communication. So I'm just picking up a very simple example here. This is something that everyone can relate to. So you can pick based on your role. So here I have picked effective communication as one of the development areas. Okay, now you have a strengths, you have your development areas. So that will give you where you stand. So now moving on to what part of it, that is, what are the things that you will develop, the IDP, right, the individual development plan. You have determined why. Now what are the things that you will develop? So there's different ways to determine what. One, anyways, now you have identified your strength and development opportunities. So that will give you one way of identifying what are those competencies that you want to develop. The second thing is you can get a formal feedback from your manager. The third thing is you can get the informal feedback from your colleagues or peers. So what I did this time while developing my IDP was I just WhatsApp my previous ex-colleagues, because I knew they are very candid in terms of giving feedback to me. So I just WhatsApp them, hey, you know what, can you just spend some time to let me know my developmental areas, my strengths. So they gave a very honest feedback. So I took some part of it. You don't have to take everything. So just think of those that you can actually include as part of the IDP. So it actually helped me a lot. I took some part of what the feedback they have given me. I took some part of the feedback from my manager. I saw what are my strengths and development opportunities. So that helped me to shortlist what are the competencies that I want to develop. Okay, so these are the various ways you can use on determining what are the competencies that you would want to develop. The next part, so now we are done with why, that is nothing but your aspiration. You're done with what, Your what is nothing but the competencies that you would want to develop. Now, the third part is how. So you know why, you know what, how are you going to develop the competencies? So there is a proven model which says 70-20-10 model. So how we are going to develop, it should be in the order of 70-20-10. So 70 stands for on the job thing. So your 70% of how we are going to do should be through the job, 20% is through peers, and 10% through your formal learning, that is an online learning. So in this example, whatever I gave, so the aspiration, the why part of it is he wants to become a team lead, and the what part of it, competency that he wants to develop, is the effective communication. Now, how part of it, how he is going to develop the effective communication. Let's say in this 70-20-10 model, whatever I have used, the 70, that is on the job learning. So your 70% of your how should be on the job. So how can you develop the effective communication on the job? Maybe you can connect with your manager and say that, you know what, this is my aspiration. So how can you think that I can help improving my communication? So your manager will give you an opportunity. So why don't you take up the lead in the next stand-up meetings? Why don't you take the lead in the next monthly meeting? So why don't you make sure that you speak for at least 2 minutes in the next meeting? So these are the different kind of opportunities that you get an opportunity to build your communication skills, or make your communication more effective. Maybe your manager can say that, you know what, we have a quarterly meeting coming up. So why don't you present the focus areas for our team to the leadership? So that's a great opportunity for you. It's okay if you go wrong, but why don't you take this opportunity and give your best? So that's, those are some of the opportunities you will have to grab without the fear of judgment and prove yourself. So that's when only such opportunities which pushes you out of the comfort zone. So you have to pick up such opportunities and prove your skills. So that is the 70 part of it gets addressed there. That is on the job learning. The 20% of it, that is through peers. So you remember the question I asked initially, who is your role model and what are the qualities of him that you appreciate? So now let's say your role model may be someone who is senior to you in the team. So you can just ask him for mentorship. So you can just discuss with him once in a week or once in a month. Keep regular meetings just to understand what helped them in their career. What are the things they are doing. So if you have any doubts or any inhibitions in your mind, so just tell it out to that person so that he can mentor you in a better way. So that is learning through peers. And your 10% is your formal education. Maybe you can register for a course on Udemy or edX, whatever it is, on some effective communication and get it done. So that is the why part of it. So I hope you understood how to do an IDP. So let me just try to recollect the points what I said. The first important part is why. That is why you are writing an IDP. So that's nothing but your aspiration. The second part is what. What are the competencies that you're going to develop? So there's very important step before what is identifying where you are, that is your strengths and challenges. So that will give you a lead pointer to what. And the third important point is how, where you're going to use 70-20-10 model to determine how you're going to develop the competencies that you have identified. Yes. So if you follow this process of why, what and how, I'm sure you will come up with an effective IDP that will help you in your professional development, and you will see the changes in yourself. So just give a try. One more important mistake what we do in writing an IDP, considering it as an additional task, definitely no. Make sure that it's integrated with your work. For example, let's say if you want a good physique, what will you do? So let's say you're working and you still want to work on your six packs. You'll plan your day such a way that you go to the gym in the morning, your food habits such a way that you don't, take more calories, you take enough nutrition that's required to build the body. At the same time, after the office hours, you plan to go to gym. So that's how you plan your day, right? It's integrated with your day. It's not a separate task altogether. You don't leave your job and start building your body unless you want to become a film star. Similar thing with the IDP. You don't have to leave your job and do it. It has to be integrated with your work. So that's why the 70% has to be on the job learning, that has to be integrated as part of your work. So just remember that. Hope this video helps you in coming up with an effective IDP. Do share your feedback if there are any other tips and tricks on how you can write an effective IDP. So please like, share, comment and subscribe to my channel for more such interesting videos. Thank you so much.